Welcome and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrea Ray, and I am the President CEO at Seattle Southside Chamber of Commerce. Our organization has served the business and community of Burien and our region for over 30 years, which is just a small fraction and brief history of the rich history in our community, but one that we are incredibly proud to share. Together with Discover Burien and Discover Burien's Executive Director, Deborah George, we are thrilled to welcome you to this community celebration today and open the museum. This is our community. This is our history. And this museum does more than honor our past. It highlights our future. We have a few speakers that are going to be able to speak to you this afternoon. And before we get to that, I did just want to acknowledge a few of our elected officials that are here this afternoon. We have some of our past elected officials that helped to make this moment a possibility. And so I want to acknowledge prior Burien City Council members, Stephen Lamphere, Kitty Milne, and Sally Nelson. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. No, Don Newby, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, and we have others. So if everyone who has been a past elected official in our community that's here celebrating today, if you could just raise your hand so we can acknowledge you, and thank you so much. Really appreciate your support. And then, of course, we also have current elected officials, so we're thrilled to welcome King County Council Member Dave Upthegrove and Council Member Joe McDermott, who's here. From the Port of Seattle, and we'll hear from him a little later in the program, Fred Felleman. From the great city of Burien, we have Mayor Mata, Deputy Mayor Austin Bell, Council Member Crystal Marks, Council Member Bob Edgar, and Council Member Nancy Tosta. Thank you so much. Also, love to welcome from the great city of Des Moines, Council Member Louisa Bangs is also here. Tukwila City Council Member Kathy Hogarty. And also from the great city of SeaTac, we have Council Members Joel Wachtel, Council Member Peter Kwan, Council Member Stanley Toombs, and also Council Member Clyde Hill. Thank you, City of SeaTac. And last, but of course not least, we also have the mayor from beautiful Normandy Park here, Jonathan Chiquette. So thank you so much to all of our elected officials who took the time to be here today. And now we want to recognize the land that we are standing on because this land was here long before the city of Burien was here. And to do a land dedication, it's my thrill to acknowledge Sarah Marie Ortiz. She is the Native Education Program Manager for the Highline School District. And she will come to the stage and do our dedication at this time. So please welcome her.
My name is Sarah Marie Ortiz, and I'm of the Acomejano people. Our tribal people are located in central New Mexico, but I am so proud to call Highline home and proud to do this land acknowledgement because it's a very, very important part of the celebration today, and we have such esteemed, powerful Native leaders here with us from Muckleshoot Indian Tribe, and I hope that all of you will strive harder all the time to learn more about our original inhabitants and stewards of this land. It's vital that we acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Muckleshoot Indian Tribe and Upper Puyallup people with ancestral ties to the Duwapsh, the people of the inside, and it's critical that we honor the ancestors of this land and the original stewards of our sacred waters, sites, and lands we now know as Highline. And now please welcome our esteemed tribal leaders, the Bill family.
Atzlahe, good evening. Willard Bill Jr. Titsta Muckleshoot Opsid. My name is Willard Bill Jr. and I'm an enrolled member of the Muckleshoot Indian Tribe where I serve as the cultural director. But I'm a longtime teacher and so stuff like this really excites me and the future work that we're going to do on this I know my aunt, Jackie Swanson, she was trying to get here in time, but she had another graduation today. Spent a lot of time advising on the exhibit and so forth. So we're really looking forward to that partnership. But alongside with me is my oldest son, Justice Bill, and then my daughter, Sovereign Bill. But I don't want to take up too much time. Justice is going to talk a little more about how ancestrally we come from this area. So we live out on the Muckleshoot Indian Reservation, but our people lived all the way from the Olympia area all the way up into Everett, traditionally in our villages, and that's just where we ended up during the 1850s. But this first song talks about the strength and happiness of our people. We're just going to sing a couple verses of that, and then we're going to sing an honor song for the opening and the blessing of those tunes.
Aslachel, Justice Bill Teedstup, Muckleshoot Tlingit Opshed. Good day to everyone. My name is Justice Bill. I'm a proud enrolled member of the Muckleshoot Indian tribe, and I'm also Tlingit through my mom, which is a tribe from Southeast Alaska. So today I'm very honored to be able to speak on the behalf of my people and represent them in a good way. And I wanted to talk a little more about how the Muckleshoot Indian tribe has connections to this very land. And so about 5 miles, a little southeast, a place called Van Doren's Landing today, there's the ancestral village of Stuck. And so me and my dad and my sister, we descend from the people of Stuck through Stuck Jack, who was one of the original Latis. Oh, here's my Auntie Jackie. Now I have to make sure I behave. But we descend from the people of we descend from Stuck Jack, who is one of the original Latis at our reservation. And he was the headman at the village of Stuck. And so that village was placed at, it literally translates to log jam, because on the river it was optimal fishing grounds where you could put a fish trap. Shows that 5 high-class families from the main village of the main Duwamish village of Tsitsiali, or the crossing over place, migrated down to Stuck and formed this village. And so a lot of the descendants of the people of Stuck are enrolled today at Muckleshoot. And but one of the very powerful places for our people was what you guys call Three Tree Point, or Scalab. And this area was not only significant to my ancestors from the village of Stuck, but also my ancestors from the village of Cadilch, where my great-great-great-grandfather, Joe Bill, is from. And so this village was on the southern tip of Lake Washington, where Renton is today. And so both the people from the village of Cadilch and the village of Stuck would go to Three Tree Point and spend their summers there. And it was there that our people socialized and gathered food and spent their summers. Three Tree Point was also a very spiritually significant place. There's a story that one of my grandmas, Annie Jack, tells of an ancestor, I believe it was Stuck Jack's father, who was buried at Three Tree Point. And when it was being developed by settlers, his bones were removed from the ground and they were spread across the sound. And but it just proves to me that our places are still here, right? And that not only are Native people here, but we're very fortunate to have access to our sacred spots. We're very fortunate to have access to places that have spiritual significance to us. And it's events like these where I can share stories and my family can share our connection to this land that we only strengthen the power that these places have for our people. And I truly believe that in sharing our histories, I believe this was said earlier, but in sharing our histories, we're not only preserving those histories, but we're also providing a model for our people moving forward into the future. And so once again, I just want to say thank you all for allowing me this time to speak. I don't want to go too long, but I hope you guys learned something interesting about this area. And yeah, thank you.
All right, how's everybody doing today? Are we excited? Well, I am. My name is Jimmy Mata. I'm your mayor here in Burien, and I want to thank our neighboring cities, SeaTac, Normandy Park, Des Moines, and Burien. You know, I remember when somebody came and talked to me about this dream. In fact, I carried a lot of boxes with that dream, and I want to thank, the idea, the people that said, hey, I've always said there's 3 kinds of people in this world, right? The dreamers, the talkers, and the doers. And the other 3 rules that I like to follow is love for community, educating ourselves, and then moving to action. I want to recognize our young people here because this is why we work so hard. This is why we do what we do every day to make sure that our communities are safe. And I'm so happy that we're going to be able to go through a museum that's going to serve the South End to look and to listen and to read about the history of Burien and of SeaTac and of Normandy Park and of Des Moines and the South End. So, but this cannot be done by itself. Remember, this is a community project. This is a community building, and so we got to make sure that we also fund the future of our children and making sure that history is not lost, because we cannot pave the future if we haven't seen what we've done in the past. And museums and heritage museums are always really well because they don't have to mask the truth. And they talk about what has really happened in the history of Burien and of our country. So with that, I want to thank you for being here. I also want to recognize our council members from Burien. Thank you very much for your investment and making sure that we were steering this in the right direction and being involved. And we try to do hard work every day and trying to make sure that our communities are safe and that we're making positive investments in our community. So again, thank you. Let's celebrate. I can't wait until the ribbon is cut. And I know there's a couple of speakers that are right behind me. And again, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Mayor Mata. We have a rock star in our mayor here, right? Let's give it up to Mayor Mata. I'd also like to thank the Muckleshoot for their welcoming and to remind us of the history that we all stand on, and a reminder that we've got a long way to follow along. and to work together. So I'm Port of Seattle Commissioner Fred Felleman, and I'm here to represent the port's long-term commitment to this. Okay, I'm sorry about that. All right, so I just have to remember my name now. I'm Port of Seattle Commissioner Fred Felleman, and I'm really here to welcome myself to this beautiful place, but actually to thank you all for your work and to be able to be proud to be a gold standard contributor. We've contributed $10,000 to this effort. It's really, but my role here is really to embody the port's commitment, not just to establish our historic relationship, which of course hasn't always been wonderful, but it is something that we document here, and we're proud to say we're going to work forward together in the future. But obviously this wouldn't have been possible without Nancy Salguero McKay, the executive director. So I haven't heard her recognized yet. Let's give it up. And of course, one person can't do that, so I understand there are many volunteers who always go less recognized. So please, let's recognize all those volunteers. How about show of hands? Now, I understand there was a real powerhouse behind this, and that in Cindy Upthegrove, whose determination and tenacity really pulled this together. I'm sorry she's not here, but I understand she was there here yesterday to tour the facility. So one more thank you to Cindy. We have another personal thank you to make of Cindy for bringing her son, Dave, to this world, who has really served King County and the whole region with great distinction and honor. So thank you, Dave, wherever you are. Now, I have to thank my people as well. Port staff poured a lot of time and energy digging through the archives to be able to contribute to this facility. And I understand they even had a lot of fun time doing some dusting. So thank you to them as well. Yeah. So I told you we are these, what's the term here? It's the gold, we're gold something. We're a gold circle member. We're the $10,000 contribution, but we are just the start. We're providing you with a plastic airplane on top of that. Obviously come on, where is that plastic airplane? There we are. We obviously have put a lot of resources into this building, but we're really proud to have such a distinguished facility to house this history and documentation of our complex future, shall we say. So, all right, so I have this, a recognition that so the history has been rough, our future together is essential, right? We are part of a long-term commitment, and the port has tried to improve on this relationship over time, and I'm going to document a couple of ways, and just to prove you've heard it here once before. We did create this ACE Airport Community Fund that was trying to replant some trees in this area and hopefully replant the Memorial Drive. That is something that I hope will be a legacy for this area. We also funded the Environmental Center at Seahurst Park and the Highline SeaTac Botanical Garden. There are these economic development grants, and as well as the Stakeholder Advisory Roundtable, our good old START forum, hopefully to minimize impacts. But really one of the things that I think is going to be most exciting into the future, and we're going to need a lot of community input on, is this South King County Community Fund. The port's recognition of the disproportionate impacts we have on this community, the commission put forward a $10 million fund that we're going to be soliciting your input on how best to spend to improve the quality of life for the community most neighboring the airport. So anyway, it will require your input. It requires communication and collaboration to make any of this stuff happen. Thank you for your ongoing efforts and listening to me this long. I really appreciate it and look forward to seeing the museum.
Thank you, and I am very proud to be the board president. Let me introduce you quickly to the other board members who are here. Gary Long, raise your hand. Kitty Milne. Linda Isernio. And Austin Bell. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Anthony Spain, who is director of the Northwest Symphony Orchestra, for providing 2 musicians today in the entryway, and their music has been great. I hope you've enjoyed them. Would you give them an indication of your pleasure? There's one more person I would like to introduce, and that's because this has been a project that's 25 years in the making. And I met a man today who said he was a volunteer here when it started. And he's right over here in the midst of this group. His name is Ralph Meyer. And he's 98 years old, and he used to come here once a week from Kirkland, where he lived. So we're going to cut the ribbon in just a few moments, and we'll be in business. But I want to mention our appreciation and thanks go to both Washington and King County governments, who provided significant grants for this building, and to the Highline cities of Burien, Des Moines, SeaTac, neighboring White Center, and the Port of Seattle. We also thank the many private and individual contributors and donors and our members who kept us afloat and delivering continuing our operations and holding events during the process while we were building this museum. Many thanks to our board members, and especially to Cindy Updegrove, as mentioned before, who had the nerve to purchase this property and the property we're standing on, and to Nancy Salguero McKay, who, with a cadre of volunteers, spent more than a year every day moving our collections and archives into this building, outfitting the building, and designing and installing the exhibits that you're looking at, and that you will enjoy the heritage and diversity of our Highline community. Thank you. We'll cut the ribbon in a moment.
And it is now my honor to introduce the executive director of the museum, Nancy Salguero McKay. Nancy, thank you so much.
Thank you. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Thank you so much for being part of the community. Thank you. This is your museum. This is you. Thank you. We're going to be... I do want to acknowledge all the volunteers and everyone that's been working together to get this done. And I just want to say thank you. No more speaking. Just thank you so much for being here. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's tell people what they need to do.
Okay, so I'm going to be counting. We're going to do the countdown. So, okay, are you ready?
But first, everybody needs to get into place so we can have all the speakers come here. Nancy. So everyone just find a place to cut a ribbon, and then this will be your keepsake to take home as well.
No scissors. You gotta have scissors. Sharp fingernails. Yeah. They work. Teeth. Yeah. Teeth work.
All right.
Oh, that's huge. That's good. Brought your large scissors.
So if you guys can see the cameraman right there, then you can see him so that he can see you when you're cutting the ribbon. That would be great. Up on the roof. You want to go on the other side? Let's go on the other side.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving. We're moving.
They're moving. Where are they going? Oh, they're cutting it from the other
photo
side.
This way. Thank you.
Better
cameraman.
side.
We're going to wait for the board and a few other people. Yes, perfect. All right. Has everyone found their piece of ribbon? Can I get a yes? Yes. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. We're open.
Thank you. Be open.
How does it feel, Nancy, that you're finally open? Yay! Are you going to sleep now?
No, just the beginning. Just the beginning. Thank you.
Congratulations. Here we are. We're just going to walk in.
There you go.
Thank you. So, this is where the museum store will be. There's a desk. And check out that great aerial composite photo of the Highline area. We have a couple of musicians from Northwest Symphony Orchestra here. Oops. This is a replica of a megalonyx, a giant sloth, which was unearthed in 1961 when they were building SeaTac's third runway. The original was at the Burke Museum, but this used to be one of the area's inhabitants. Can you imagine a creature this large? Look at the bones. Anyway, I'm going to go backtrack just a little. There's a conference room that can double as a theater. And there's a video playing up here that I actually made about 10 years ago. So this video is called I Am Highline. That's the former SeaTac police chief, Jim Graddon, who grew up here. So it's a series of interviews with locals. Check it out. Continuing my quick tour. I'll walk over here. And we start with the native tribal people who lived here. And we continue over here. We have Normandy Park. They have their own exhibit. Great old map. Artifacts, stories. And check this out. This is a Pan Am fuselage. A real one. Taken from a decommissioned 707. And gifted here. And look, you can go inside. It's a great selfie station. You sit here, you put your face out the window, and people can take your picture. You look like a world traveler. So then we have this, this is an airport exhibit with photos and history, and including protests, including a current one about Fight the Flight, Quiet Skies, Puget Sound. And there's a place you can leave notes and memories. And then, of course, up here, can you guess who that is? That's everyone's favorite folk hero, D.B. Cooper. A whole story about D.B. Cooper. And we have more airplane artifacts. More history. I'm just going through it quickly to give you an overview. Hey. And this grand wall here is devoted to Highline Public Schools. If you went to any Highline Public School at any time, you should take a look and find artifacts from your school. So we got lockers with artifacts from each school. Some interesting things, some old footballs. And here is the famous Evergreen High School quarterback Jack Thompson's Evergreen football jersey from 1974. So find something from your school, whether it's Glacier, Chinook, Evergreen, Seahurst, Highline, Tyee. They're all here. All sorts of great artifacts. Just going to quickly buzz through here, including this, one of my favorites. The old switchboard from Highline High School, the PA system from the 1930s. Isn't that cool? Look, it had a turntable. You could play music. And then another favorite here, 1940s kids football helmet. Yeah, do you think that's going to protect them? I don't think so. Leather helmet. And then another favorite part of mine is these kids here don't look too happy to have their picture. Look at that frown. Happy, not so happy. Anyway, there's some great pictures. That's from 1929 at Lake Burien Elementary School. Sunnydale School. See the bell right there? See that? And then look over here. There's the bell from Sunnydale School. Pretty awesome. All right, so there's also an exhibit. The publisher of the Highline Times, Jerry Robinson. Some of the Robinson boys are here. So there's another view of the giant Highline Public Schools wall. A beautiful exhibit done extremely well. So there's your quick tour. Thank you for joining me. We will end on some music and a great look at a great old painting from early 1920s Burien. All right. Thanks for joining me. This is Scott Schaefer. I hope to see you up at this museum. Have a great day.